What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Next Win podcast with your host, Aunt Ma, co host Justin Vaseur. And we've been uploading so many videos every week.
Yeah, I think it's Tuesday through Friday for YouTube,
Yep.
and then the full episode on Sunday.
Yep.
And then we also have for like Spotify and all those things on Mondays.
Yep. So, guys, let us know in the comments below whether you're on Spotify or YouTube, because you can comment on Spotify as well.
Yeah.
We'll put the poll in there, or those questions in there for you guys. And let us know how you like this new format. If you like seeing these posts every single day, or is it too much for you guys?
Yeah.
So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how we started making big boy money. And what is big boy money?
I don't know. I think for me, big boy money was, for me personally, okay,
Yeah.
was like 5K and up a month.
Yeah. Yep.
That was kind of like big boy money.
I would say once you get out of the what you've been making for the last like 5 years or 10 years of your life,
Yeah.
all these little jobs that you've been doing as a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
and then now you took that next step in your life, got to the next level, and this is that next win that we're talking about.
Yeah.
This is that big boy money,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I agree with you. It is like starting at $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
I think for me, $5,000 a month was the first level of it, and now getting to the second level of like $10,000 to $12,000 a month.
Yeah.
That's like the really big boy money that I've reached. And then now getting a little bit higher and higher, it obviously just starts from the very first one, right?
Yeah,
It's what
of
they
course.
say. Your first million is the hardest to make,
Yeah.
and then every million after that is easy because you keep replicating it. And I'm not even there yet.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah.
You know what I
I'm not
mean?
there
Like,
either. I'm not even close.
maybe with assets I can be,
Mhm.
but I'm not even going to say I would have $1 million until I have $1 million in my bank account.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think we have to be a little bit realistic here, where like a lot of people, especially on social media right now, people talk about, oh, you need to be making 20K to be happy and all these things.
Yeah,
I think, 5K a month is,
that's more than enough.
I think that's big boy money. You know what I mean?
That's so sad because making 5K a month is like what people are paying a mortgage, right?
That's what's crazy, right?
So you got to make big boy money to live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, basically in today's world.
Yeah,
But I mean, I think if you find someone like a partner or whatever that also makes that money, I think it's obviously easier to afford that home.
right? Yeah, making 10,000 a month in a household, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, I think aiming for those goals of like 5K to 10K to 20K or whatever is
Yeah.
great. But yeah, there's a lot of these YouTube / Instagram gurus like saying, "Oh, if you don't make 20K or up, you're a loser." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, come on, bro.
I have never. Wow,
You've never heard that?
I have not.
Yeah.
Probably because I don't follow people like that.
I mean,
or
they're
like,
probably just clowning and just being
Right.
stupid, but
you know,
yeah.
when I think about it, I think because you and me were a little more old school and we're older than obviously what we were before. But I would say in our teenage years, early 20s, $5,000 a month is a lot, and that was
Mhm.
definitely big boy money.
Yeah.
But now that I'm in my 30s, that's not enough,
Yeah.
Like there's times when I had jobs at $5,000 a month, and then it had to be like a couple gigs for me to get there to maintain that for the month. But it wasn't enough, and probably
Yeah.
because I have kids, it's a family.
Yeah, that's a lot different. I think it depends on what you have on your plate for
Yeah.
sure. If you're coming out of college, you might have like a condo or something or an apartment,
Yeah.
and it's just you. 5K might be
That's a lot.
a lot. You have a beater car or something, and you just save that money to buy an asset in the future. That's great money.
Do you think in today's world, how a lot of people are in the tech world and they're making a lot of freaking money,
Yeah.
is that normal nowadays, or is that still like a rare group?
I still think it's rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's rare. A lot of people talk about how you can be making this much money in the tech world, but even when you get into it, you realize how hard it actually is. And so I still think it's rare. There is opportunity to make that money, but you still have to do the work. You still have to study. You still have to find those jobs that pay that. So I think it's rare.
So at what age did you start making big boy money?
I think I was 26, maybe.
That sounds about right.
Or 25.
Yeah.
But it was almost like a tease.
What do you mean?
So like I would have a couple months where I would hit at least like 5K
Yeah.
and then some months 10K. Yeah.
Whoa.
But then I would have other months where it was like 1200 or something.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know, so even I got that taste of big boy money,
Yeah.
but it just wasn't consistent.
I see.
You know what I mean? That was like the start of my photography video career. Or at least like at the very tip of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so seeing that and then being like, oh, this is the potential. I tried really hard to have that be a consistent thing,
Mm-hmm.
but being a freelancer, it is difficult,
Yeah.
you know? And so I would have like this motion through the
Right.
years or throughout the year,
So
I should say.
prior to that, um, how much were you making? Was it just like minimum wage at the Just Tires?
Yeah, it was about $10 an hour, $9 an hour.
Yeah.
But at that time I was working three jobs. I was doing that. I was working at Abercrombie and Fitch,
Nice.
in the back packing all the stuff,
You
and
do look
then
like an Abercrombie guy.
no way, I was in the back, dude. And, like even the stuff that we were wearing, I guess it was Abercrombie, but the stuff that we were wearing was like completely different than everybody in the front.
Oh,
Um,
I see. They're
yeah,
like, let's keep the short guy in the back.
no, it was actually all the cool guys and
In the back?
yeah,
Oh,
all the cool
okay.
people in the back. We were like blasting music and just packing stuff, and then you would have like the models come in. And we're like, "Psh, okay, but
By the way, me and Justin are the same height.
yeah, I'm taller. No, I'm just kidding. My foot touches the ground. No, I'm just kidding.
Mine does right now too.
And then I worked at a custom paint shop. So I had three sources of income. The custom paint shop. Can I say it's? Yeah, I can say. What the hell? It was under the table.
Yeah, why not?
Um,
How many under the table jobs have we had? A lot.
yeah. It was under the table. I was getting good money from that. That one was paying me, I think, like $12 an hour, and I think
Yeah.
at that time that was pretty good for my age, you know. And then Discount Tire, $10 an hour, and then Abercrombie was, I think, the least. It was like $8 or something.
So this was all before you're 25.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what made you think that you had to actually make that switch and to be like, man, three jobs and they're all minimum wage. Like I want to make this big boy money and do more with my life. Like what made you think about that?
Well, it actually wasn't the switch from those jobs to freelance.
Yeah.
I made that switch just seeing the fact that I can make money from a hobby. You know, I was
Mm.
like, oh, okay, this is cool. This is something different. I'll try to do that route.
Yeah.
So doing that, I think I had my first gig, and I want to say it was like $500 for like 2 hours of filming. And I was like, whoa, this is pretty cool.
That's when the light bulb kicked in.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I could do this. And then I quit my jobs. And when I quit my jobs, it was kind of like a weird timing
Yeah.
because right after I didn't get any gigs.
Yeah.
Um, so it was really about maybe a couple of months into this freelance world where I was like, all right, I really got to hustle it because I know the potential. I know, I saw what was going on and how
Yeah.
much money I can make. And then after that, it was just more about getting the clients in.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, it was probably around the same age. I don't remember, between 25 and 28 is when I really started making that money.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to 25, it was just like, I had a job where I was making like maybe $3,000 a month for 1 year. Another year it'd be like $2,000 a month. So when I had a $3,000 a month job, I was like, wow, this is nice. I'm
Yeah.
having an adult job.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money for a kid, right? But then I realized, like, how am I ever going to do more? I'm around all these people who have a lot of money, and I can never be like them.
Mm-hmm.
Like even at a young age, like I can't go to the club with them because I can't buy drinks like they do. They always want to go get bottle service. I can't afford that stuff.
Yeah.
So how do I make big boy money? I even did. I worked a job for over a year, and it was commission only. And we made phone calls every single day, cold calling to refinance people's homes.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for a year and a half, and got zero deals. This is when I was 21. I didn't even know what I was selling at the time. I just knew I saw my friends making like $20 $20,000 paychecks.
Yeah.
Oh, how are they doing that? Well, let me follow. And I made zero in a year and a half. Zero money working a job.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there from 9 to 5, 5 days a week.
That's crazy.
And so that was a switch where I was like, damn, I know I can do better. How do I make that big boy money? And so this is when my dad was thinking about, so I just graduated culinary school. I did a lot of grunt work for the next 5 years, making minimum wage at celebrity restaurants,
Mm.
right? Like I just paid 50 grand in culinary school, and I got this Hispanic guy next to me, and we're both making minimum wage. Like, how is this even possible?
Yeah.
He didn't pay 50 grand, right? And so I did that for 5 years, and I got so tired of it. My dad was like, "Hey, he sees I can do a lot of food stuff, so he has an opportunity." A friend says, "Hey, you want to open a restaurant?" He goes, "Sure. Let me bring my son in." And then so my dad and this guy are the owners, and then I invest in the restaurant as well. So now I'm an investor, and I don't have to cook because it's Chinese food, and he has me being a manager for the restaurant. So we have this restaurant in Alhambra on Valley Boulevard where all the Asian food is, Asian cafes, and it was right on the corner of Garfield and Valley, where everybody who watches the video should know where that is. All right. And we had this Chinese restaurant. It was more like a high end cafe cuisine. They call it like gourmet cafes.
Okay.
So um, the hardest thing was that so I was making right there like $3,000 a month, and then plus shares from investing, and that's where I got my first taste. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is how all these other adults are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing pretty well, but I left the business because I learned that it's so hard to run a Chinese restaurant full of Chinese immigrants cooking in the back, servers, all those people, and they don't listen to an American kid. I
Mm.
was the only American one who understood the health codes, how to keep the place clean, dealing with inspectors, dealing with the city, permits, all that stuff, and dealing with all the American customers. But when you got to tell the cooks, like, hey, you can't wash your hands in the prep sink, you got to wash it in the hand sink, they're like, what the fuck? It's just water, dude. You
Yeah.
know? But, um, you know, it was really hard working with Chinese people who didn't believe in you. So I left it. And this is when I was like, okay, I'm going to buy my first business. Now, this is when the big boy money came in. I didn't know what I was going to buy. So I went on Craigslist and I was like, what kind of business can I buy with less than 100K? Because I've been saving up, and then now my dad sees me as a screw up because I went to college and didn't do anything with my degree. Tried investing with him, didn't really work out. He's like, okay, this guy's gonna be like 26 years old. What else is he gonna do?
Yeah.
So now my dad wants to help me out. I have money saved up. He's like, why don't you just go look for a business? So I'm finding a business where I don't have to be there every day, and I found it on Craigslist, and it was a laundromat. And I bought this laundromat, and I'm like thinking, how much money can it really make? I don't know, but what I do know is that I can have a job and run this business.
Yeah.
Now I can really make big boy money, right? So now I have a job for $3,000 a month, and I have this laundromat business that was bringing in about, I think it was bringing in like 4 to 6 thousand a month at the time, and I only had to be there 30 minutes a day
Mm.
just to sweep and clean. you know. Then I also hired, so that laundromat was in Pasadena. Next door was a Mexican restaurant, and there's a guy that's always sweeping outside when they're closing up. And I was like, hey, you want to make some extra money? Once you close the restaurant, come to the laundromat, come clean it up for 30 minutes, and I'll give you, $100 a week.
Yeah.
Um, and I'll pay it to you in vouchers of the laundromat to
Oh,
come wash
really?
your clothes and dry your clothes. So it wasn't even cash.
Mm.
He's like, yeah, sure, free laundry.
Yeah.
So now I never had to go to the laundromat, and this guy was just cleaning it up for me. I didn't have to pay him, and in 3 months, I flipped the business for double of what I paid for.
Oh, wow.
So in 3 months, I made over $100,000, and that's where I was like, oh shit, this is really how it works.
Yeah.
You know, that was probably the light bulb in my head where I was like, this is that next win. I got a huge win right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how am I going to replicate that 100K into the next ones and the next ones?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much where it all started.
Yeah. I think for me, I also had a switch, but this is very recent.
Yeah.
I've always had the idea of um, automating things.
Yeah.
And so the vision was to always have like a studio or have some sort of agency, creative agency.
Yeah.
And, doing this for 10 plus years now, it's like I don't always want to be behind the camera.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if I can give the opportunity to other people, and um, some people like editing, some people like filming, if I could just give them those gigs and
Yeah.
take a small cut or something like that, then I'm down for that. And so that's kind of what I've been transitioning into, is finding my editors, finding my filmers,
Yeah.
and just having them knock out the content.
You
Um,
know, what people don't know is that so being a videographer and photographer, you're always behind the camera.
yeah,
For me, prior to doing this podcast and other things, I was also behind the camera all the time, right?
yeah,
I was a camera operator for JK, director, producer, all that type of stuff, right?
yeah,
And so I was always behind the camera as well. And this is the first time where you and me have made that switch and we're in front of the camera now.
yeah.
Like this is awesome,
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
it's it's definitely weird for me. So if I'm ever awkward on the camera,
I think
then
you're doing great,
you
bro.
know why. But
Like,
yeah, I'm trying to make that switch.
yeah.
Even with my personal like YouTube channel, like I have a couple things in the works. So stay tuned for that. I'm trying to be in front of the camera now. But even just people don't know how like stressful it can be.
Oh, for sure.
When you're like a one man team.
Mm-hmm.
So like you're doing all the editing, all the filming, and all those things, and it gets pretty stressful. And doing those things for so many years, it's like, all right, I think taking the next leap is what I need to do, which is hire help
Yep.
and or create a team.
That's where it starts is actually figuring out how to grow your business and scaling,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like if you don't do that, you're just gonna be stuck in the same position.
hmm
But how do you get to that next win is by scaling and just letting go of certain things.
Yeah, um, yeah. I think you have to look at yourself and be like, is this something that I want to do forever? Um, do I want to scale it? What kind of life do I want to live? Do I
Yep.
want to have more time for myself? And if you can, like, try to figure out those processes to make that happen. And once you do that, I think, your business can flourish for sure.
I think that's great advice. You got to figure out when in the time of your life is it a smart time to take that big leap,
hmm
and I think you'll know when the time comes, right?
Yeah.
You just it's a whole learning experience. So don't be afraid to take that leap and get your next win. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to subscribe to all of our channels on all the podcast platforms and on YouTube. And also check out in our description box. Justin has a link if you guys want some services for his videography and photography skills. He's very good at what he does, and you see it here on these podcasts. And if you want to reach out to me for real estate, let me know. It's all in the description box. So we'll see you guys next time on the Next Win podcast.